Christian, Roll Tide. It's good to see you. How was everything for you on A Day?
Roll Tide, Roger. It was great, man. Hated that we didn't have you out there, but I had a good time being up there in the booth for the first time. It was a new experience, and then I was also down on the field. But overall, just a great experience, great weather, great turnout. There was a lot of fans, so I was really excited to see that.
Well, even going back to your playing days, how much did you enjoy spring practice and A Day, and then I guess the steak versus beanie weenie you got to enjoy on Monday afterwards?
Yeah, no, I always enjoyed it. I mean, the weather's nice in the spring, and it's just really a time for you to learn and grow, and to go out there and compete. You don't really have an opponent you're facing other than yourself and your teammates. So, a really important time for you to grow as a player and as a team. You start building that chemistry early and start, getting in the playbook. You've got some new teammates with the early enrollees, so just a really good time. And then it's, wrapped up with A Day, putting a bow on everything and going out there and put on a show for the fans and competing one last time before you have your little break in May and then gear up for summer workouts.
Well, what do you feel like we learned about this football team over the last few weeks in spring practice?
Well, Roger, I walked away with a lot of promise. I saw flashes of some really good things, some improvements from last year. So I'm excited about the potential of this team. Most notably, I think there's going to be a lot of depth because I saw so many guys, especially young guys, taking advantage of their opportunities. We heard a lot about Caleb Downs and Justice Haynes, and rightfully so. We now understand why there was so much hype around these guys and why everyone speaks so highly of these guys. They're very mature, and these guys are playmakers. I saw a lot of great things and flashes from the defensive backs, from Malachi Moore, Kool-Aid McKinstry, a lot of young guys stepping up, Earl Little, just so many good things on the back end. That unit came to play, as well as the linebacker unit. Those guys were playing physical, fast, downhill, putting a hat on a hat. I was really impressed with the new transfer, JUCO transfer, Justin Jefferson, a guy that just plays so fast. And for a smaller frame linebacker, this guy has some thump. He's coming downhill, putting his hat on a guard, striking, violently shedding, and making tackles. Blackshire looked great. Campbell, Marshall, again, so many guys that look like they can contribute. And that's such a good sign because that means you're going to have so many guys that you can roll when you need to. And then even up front, the defensive line was physical at the point of attack. The edge rushers, we were missing two of the key contributors from last year who are out this spring right now with injury. And we still saw some really good things on the edge with the pass rush with Q Robinson, Keanu Coates. So really excited about the defense. And then flipping over to the offensive side of the ball, I thought both quarterbacks made a case for why they can compete and contribute to this team. Some really nice things from both quarterbacks and really all four quarterbacks that played. I feel strong about and moving to the running backs. Look, Tommy Rees is going to have his pick. That's truly a staple back there, and that's a great problem to have. So many guys that can contribute and step up. You have veteran guys. You got Roydell, and you got I'm drawing a blank. Jason McClellan. Then you also have the young guys coming in, J.M. Miller, Justice Haynes, and man, I mean, Tommy Rees really has the luxury of just picking guys, whoever he wants to put in the game. All these guys can contribute. And the receivers did a nice job. Definitely could kind of clean up the drops, but look, that's an easy fix, right? That's staying after practice, hitting the jug machine, catching passes from your quarterbacks. We can clean that up. And then lastly, the offensive line. I thought they played physical up front. That was one of the things that they wanted to work on. We heard them talk about it. They wanted to bring that tenacity back, that ferocity. They wanted to be, known for that, to get in push up front, being strong up front, being able to have their way in the trenches. And we started to see that. And I think we're in the right direction. So many really good things that we've seen. Oh, Roger, I forgot the tight ends. I can't forget about those guys. They got a lot of love during their day. We saw that Tommy Rees likes to incorporate the tight ends. We heard a lot about that, and now we saw that a lot of guys were involved, including the Maryland transfer Cedar Dupree. So really excited overall. Again, walked away with a lot of promise. So many great things that we can build off of going into fall camp, and I'm really excited about the potential of this team in the upcoming fall.
We know coaches aren't going to show everything in a spring game. Obviously, got to have a few tricks up your sleeve for when the real games count starting in the fall. But do you feel like we learned some tendencies maybe we could be seeing with Tommy Rees in this offense?
Absolutely, yeah. And those are the things we kind of were hearing about him when he first was hired. Is that he likes the heavy personnel, he likes to run the ball, he likes to use his tight ends. I think that's kind of what we started to see. We saw those. We saw some of those sets again, they're not going to show everything. The playbook was very vanilla, and rightfully so. Hey, it's Alabama. Everybody's going to be watching this game. We can't give away too much. But just to see how active the tight ends were and how involved they were, that was something that we were hearing and expecting, and we did see that. So that's exciting. And we saw that they're going to like to run the ball. They're going to kind of get a little bit back to some of that old school style of running the football, but they also aren't afraid to throw the ball because they threw the ball plenty of times. So really nice balanced offensive scheme that we saw from Tommy Rees, even though it was a small sample size and they weren't going to put too much out there. But with that being said, if that's just a small vanilla playbook, I'm excited to see him really open it up in the fall.
And then how about on the defensive side of the ball with Kevin Steele coming in as the defensive coordinator? Obviously, he's been here before. He knows Coach Saban's expectations for an Alabama defense. But with all the playmakers you described earlier, did it feel like an Alabama defense once again?
Oh, absolutely. And I go back to just the physicality of that defensive unit during A-Day. And I was talking about the linebackers, but really it was everybody. If you watched the defense, everybody was playing fast, physical, and flying to the ball, putting a hat on the ball. We used to call it swarming to the ball, making somebody pay. And that's what we saw. The defensive line was turning, redirecting from the line of scrimmage, retracing and going and cleaning up tackles. The defensive backs were getting out of their breaks from coverage, coming downhill and coming with helping out with the run support. So yeah, I think that's really familiar to me, and obviously Kevin Steele is familiar to me as well, and a lot of Alabama fans. But that's exactly what we were expecting, and it's a really good thing to see already in A-Day because look, that means these guys are hungry, they're ready to compete, they're not scared of contact, they want to go clean up tackles and make guys pay, and that's what Alabama's defenses have been known for. They're known to make you pay, they're known to hit you in the mouth, and really that's where the identity of not wanting to play Alabama comes from.
You mentioned a moment ago, spring practice is done. The players get a break during May, but once they get back on campus in June, the strength and conditioning workouts getting ready for fall camp to start in August. Just how important are June and July for these players to make sure they're in the best shape possible, bigger, faster, and stronger, ready to go for once fall camp begins?
Oh, summer it's imperative that these guys come in, they're ready to work because there's so much growth and opportunity during the summer. You're not having the pads on, but you're going through workouts together, which are extremely tough. The heat is out there. It's a great opportunity to bond as a team. It's time for the veterans to step up, people to establish themselves as leaders, and you're going to have to lean on each other because the summer program is definitely tough. There's not students on campus; you're just really around each other for the entire summer. So a lot of growing opportunities and a chance for guys to get bigger, stronger, faster. You've had the spring now, and you know what you need to work on and clean up. So you can go and start working on those things. They'll have 7-on-7 periods and whatnot, so they can do some small football activities. But ultimately, you're really just getting yourself in the best shape possible for training camp coming up because that's when it really matters, and that's when you have your opponent ready and you're ready to get to work on that opponent and start the season.
Well, what's next for Christian Miller now that we're through spring football? What are you going to be up to this summer as we get ready for another great season?
Man, I'm going to be working doing some radio as well, and I'm also going to be working out. I'm not preparing for an opponent, but I'm preparing just to be the healthiest version of myself. But I'm excited, to just stay in contact with the guys and the team, and just keep up with those guys. And I wish them the best with this summer workout off-season program that they're going to have, and looking forward to getting back and covering the guys in the fall.
We look forward to it as well. Christian Miller, thank you for your great work for the Golden Flake A-Day game broadcast on Saturday. And we look forward to reconnecting with you as we go through the offseason, getting ready for the year. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. Thank you, Roger. Roll Tide.